Hello, welcome everyone. Good to see you again. Let's get started here. Hello, Mozzarella. Hello, Eon. Uh, Davek. Is that David? I think. Nathan. Hello everybody. Thanks for joining today. So today's stream is going to be something a little bit different, and I've been really excited about it. Oh, hi Tyler. How's it going? I've been really excited about it. I'm not quite sure how it's going to go, though. A little nervous, because this time I'm going to stream some Hammer level editor for Half-Life 2, the Source Engine level editor. So I want to make basically a little playable map on stream, and so you can see the process of making the map, and we can work on it together and just have a relaxing, chill time. But I haven't done this style of mapping before, and I'm finding that the way that I go about making this map and what I'm making is very different because I'm intending to stream it versus if I was doing it myself. So it's kind of a learning experience. It's a very different process. But how is everybody doing today? I'll move us over to the game screen in just a second. Everything going good? Just ramble incoherently whatever's on your mind as you hammer away and it'll go fine. That's what I'm... So, one thing that I realized just before stream is, like, in terms of the audience, it's hard to explain what I'm trying to make if you're not super familiar with the story of EZ2. So I don't know whether to, like, over-explain, okay, here's exactly what happens and here's the setup, or if I need to just sort of dive in and say, oh, here's the character, you're all familiar with the character. I'm not sure. Things are good with Nathan. That's good. Tyler is working all weekend, but this is your background noise. Oh, thank you. That's flattering that I'm the background noise while you're working. I've never been that before, I don't think. Eon, you're fine. How are you? I'm doing good. Thanks. And Blix, happy to see you here. Let me know if you have any pointers or thoughts or input. Hopefully I'm not too distracting while you're mapping. But let's get started. So I might need to move the scene around in OBS because I haven't streamed this before, so I'm not sure if I'm going to be blocking something really important. I think I'm right where the 3D preview is going to go, so that's not good. I'll probably have to move the elements around. Before we get into Hammer, I want to give a little bit of background. Yeah, Nathan, that's actually a really good place to start. Who hasn't played EZ2 and who knows or doesn't know who Scar Zero is? Will you make the big sus vent from EZ2? Actually, you know, it's funny that you mentioned that because I'm going to explain this in a second, but I made this little zoo map to get a few elements for the map that I'm going to be making. And yeah, the big sus vent is actually one of the things that I copied from EZ2 because that's an important element of the story of the add-on that we're working on today is the big sus vent. But yeah, for Nathan's question, for those who don't know, so the add-on that I'm going to be making today is going to be a map about a side character from Entropy 02. In Chapter 2 of EZ2, as you're fighting through these offices, there's a lone soldier that you can find who's been captured by the enemy and was being interrogated. And if you manage to free him, he'll join your squad. He calls himself Scar Zero. That's like a call sign, right? And then later, when you go into the horror section of the game, there's a monster that comes and wipes out your squad, but Scar Zero is spared. Somehow he survives being grabbed by the monster. So what I want to make today is a little playable game where you play as that side character, Scar Zero, and you get taken by the monster through a big sus vent, and you have to escape, and that'll explain how he survived that. Is there any actual lore behind Scar Zero? That's an interesting question because, like, to me it feels almost sort of like the character came before the lore, right? Like I was working on the warehouse map from Entropy 02 Chapter 2, and I had this idea in mind of a scene where you can add one soldier to your squad by finding him. You have to solve a little puzzle, and then you can find a soldier who's been detained, and you can free him, and he'll join your squad. It didn't really come from the overall narrative initially, but then after the fact, we tried to make it cohere more with the rest of the story, because we don't want anything to be in the game that's not part of the story or isn't meaningful. So we added some lore to Scar Zero after he was made, and that's the way a lot of things go in this kind of like level design, game design, I think. Dovacort says he's got the entire backside of his helmet missing, and you can see his skull. Absolutely, yeah, that's what makes him unique. Let me just, I know we haven't even started mapping yet, but why don't I just show the model for Scar Zero so you can see this character? Did we call it Scars? No, I think we called it Combine Soldier Bloody. Yeah. So this is the model. And I actually made, well, I didn't make the texture. I made the earlier version of the texture, but I kind of made this model. I took the head of the soldier that's has his armor removed from Half-Life 2, and I put it in the Combine Soldier model, and I took the back of the helmet off. That's about the extent of what I can do in Blender. I'm not very good. And then I think I made the texture, but it looked bad, and CW made a new one, or maybe Breadman made a new one. I don't quite remember actually. But yeah, this is the character. This is a Combine soldier who was captured by the rebels. They tried to talk to him, but it was kind of fruitless because of the way the Combine soldiers are so indoctrinated. They couldn't really get any information out of him. They did remove part of his helmet here, so that's why he looks so different. And he was captured by a monster and taken underground, and that's where this is gonna pick up. Blix says, I thought it was just the stripped soldier head, not a skull. Yeah, it is. He still has skin and everything. It's just it's his head. Will there be custom view models? Yes. I'm not going to make those today because the stream is going to be 2 hours, and I want to focus on level design. So maybe off stream I'll do that. Right now he'll just look like Bad Cop in the game because we're just getting started here. Do you think Scar Zero was a part of Clone Cop Squad or another squad? He was absolutely a part of Clone Cop Squad. So that was something that we didn't really initially think about it, but like later in development, it was sort of added in this backstory that he was part of a team that was sent to Arbite earlier that included Clone Cop. So he was one of Clone Cop's soldiers who was then captured by the rebels, and the rest of them were killed. Let me pull up. So first of all, I set up an add-on workspace from this repo on GitHub that I made. So this is something where you can make a source mod, and it'll just act as like a holder for all your resources while you're working on an add-on, and then you can publish it later. So that's what I'm using. I'm not going to go through the process of setting that up. I thought about like doing it all on stream, but I think that part is a little bit boring. And this has already been a lot of me talking into the camera. So I think I'm going to skip this and get more into the level design portion. But maybe at a later time, I'll go through like all the process I did to set this up. How soon until Scar Zero is a Fortnite skin? You got to factor in Valve time, because like maybe after another Half-Life game gets released, they'll add Scar Zero to Fortnite. So I don't know, give it like 5 or 6 years. That's a joke if anyone took me seriously there. So I drew this on my whiteboard, and you can actually see it even though my camera is blocking a big part of the screen, but the framing works out very nicely. This is going to be the first map of the add-on. I want to do a Chapter 3 style portal chamber. I wanted it to be more of like a portal behind the scenes area at first, but then when I realized gameplay-wise, I thought about what's the first thing that we're going to need to teach the player, and it's going to be all about these aperture science buttons, just like in Portal. You know, it's kind of refreshing your memory. Okay, here's how Portal works. So he's going to fall into a test chamber, but this test chamber is going to be almost like a nest for the monster, the Gnome. For people who aren't familiar with Entropy Zero, I'm going to show the Gnome. Why not? Gnome. Yeah. So we've been taken by this big monster thing, where this guy, the monster, grabbed us, and now we are going to fall into this portal test chamber. I think it's really important to give the player a goal to let you know where you're supposed to go. So my thought is, you're the little stick figure here. you're going to right away see that there's this glass door, and on the other side of it, there's something that you need. I'm not going to get too much into the story stuff today, so it's going to be like a monitor. There's going to be something on it that's important, I think, but I'll get to that part later on. But yeah, you're going to look through the glass door, see that there's your goal here, but you need to depress this aperture button to get the door open. And if you're standing on the button, you can't get through the door, obviously, just like Portal. So then you're going to need to go around and solve a couple puzzles with cubes and buttons. And eventually you'll get the cube back so you can open the door. I know this is throwing a lot at the player at once, but I think I also want to have the Gnome come into play once you get the cube from the other side of the map. And then that way there will be a little bit of a horror chase sequence type of thing. Eon says, how weird would it be for the Combine soldiers from Clone Cop Squad to just hear another soldier talk with free will? Yeah, Scar Zero didn't have much of a reaction to seeing Bad Cop, but I think he kind of understood that it was another clone, probably, or that it was another privileged unit, I guess you would say. Mozzarella says, SDK went? What do you mean? Like, Valve released the SDK in 2013. I mean, that was just the latest version, but the SDK has been around. For Entropy 02's source code, you can go on the Entropy 0 GitHub and look at the source SDK 2013 repo. And this is the source code for Entropy 02. It's on this branch called Easy2 Mapbase. So that's the entire source code for the game. And obviously Hammer is available. So yeah, the SDK is out. Very professional, that whiteboard. Oh, not at all. Graphic design is my passion. I not very good at art, but I like to represent things visually. You know, it's a good way to think things through spatially. So the first map will focus on stealth and puzzles. Yes, absolutely. Stealth and puzzles, because I think that's the first element. Where I'm kind of leading up to with this is that I want to have a map about the displacer pistol. That was a cut weapon for Entropy 02 that we never got to use. So I want to do a map about the displacer pistol. That guy. But that will be later. So another thing that I wanted to talk about before I get into mapping is how normally if I was doing a project like this, I would probably start with like a later map or a map near the end or near the middle so that I could like build up the sort of the challenge and then work backwards to figure out what do we need to teach the player. And the reason I'm not doing that is because I didn't think it would work out well for the stream. So I feel like I'm deviating from what I think is like the process that I want to take in order to map on stream. And I'm not sure how that will turn out, but this whole thing is kind of an experiment. We're just going to see what happens. So I'm rolling with this for now because this is a map that I think is very self-contained and I could realistically finish in the next hour and 45 minutes. At least a gray box kind of working demo of it. Maybe not with all the features. Will the weapons from Cold Signal be in this mod? I'm not sure because I'm going with Scar Zero dropped his weapon when he was taken, so you won't have a weapon. Maybe you'll get it back later. I think that would be a good idea. So it would be cool to have those weapons, but that also depends on if we can get the Combine Soldier arms for them. Guns behind the glass door. Yeah, no, actually that's a really good point. If the first weapon is over here, then you know that that's your objective. I think I want to have some on-screen text that talks about what you're trying to do at the beginning, but I'm going to focus on that stuff more later on, I think. Easy 2.1 like Easy 1 has for mods. Yeah, I mean, so I think you're talking about the Easy 1 mod template. The add-on workspace is basically the same thing, right? It's just a source mod that mounts the game. There's a lot of extra goodies in here because the way the add-on workspace is intended to be used is that you make a add-on workspace, you make your maps and stuff, and then you package it to put it on the workshop. But if you wanted to, you could just get rid of these extra scripts and just use the add-on workspace as the mod template for Easy 1. It's like the same thing. Welcome, not Narpy. Thanks for joining. What do you think about the Combine making a Combine version of the Gnome? I don't know. I don't think that they have encountered too many of these Gnomes yet. So I don't really see them getting that far along with them. I mean, even with head crabs, they don't really modify the head crabs. They just kind of put them in the shells and send them, you know, so it seems like that's like more of a recent development for the Combine. It's not like Striders where they're manufacturing them. I tried using the displacer pistol once while messing around at EZ2 to see if I could teleport the weighted cube around, but when I got too far, it'd be in the place you last left. Yeah, so the displacer pistol has like a time limit on it. If you don't displace things quickly enough, they will go back to their original spot. Maybe I'll even, you know, this is turning into just a messing around in Hammer stream, but we'll get to the level design soon, I promise. Maybe I'll just make a crate, and then we can prop physics. We can try it out a second. Welcome, Lucia. It's really good to see you here. I like your videos. What is the weighted storage cube actually called? This is terrible. I actually can't remember the name of the. It has to be cube, right? It's not cube. It's not weighted. No. Is it box? I bet it's box. I'm like totally drawing a blank here. Yeah, it's metal box. YouTube needs more mapping content. I used to watch a ton of mapping streams back in the day. Oh, I'm really glad to hear that. I wasn't sure if this would be a very like a format that people would want to see. So I'm glad to see that you're excited. I hope that it goes well. I'm not really sure what I'm doing, to be honest. But I hope this is you know, something that's fun for everyone. Whatever happened to that thing I recorded voice lines for like 12 years ago? Oh my gosh. Was that Abyss? That might have been Abyss. We never actually published that, although we got pretty far along with the alpha build. Metal box. Yeah. Decrease the size of your webcam or move it somewhere. You're right. I am blocking the entire screen. That's terrible. Let me do that a second. So why don't we put me over the 2D view? That's kind of silly, but do we need the two? Yeah, we probably need, what is this? That's top down. What if I go down here in the corner? That seems like a good spot. And then I can put chat either like maybe like right like up here. I think that's a good place for chat. And then I just need to move the order. And then this thing will go here. The reason I didn't want to do top right is because the top down view I think will be kind of important, although now chat is blocking the top right view, so let's see here. What if I move chat here? Does that look okay? I feel like I'm still blocking important things. We'll go with this for now, and then we'll see how it goes. You found the Google Docs for Abyss in 2013. I wish we would have published something. I think it's kind of a classic scope creep situation. It's how a lot of mods end up. You have all these ideas, and then things just kind of go out of control, and then it's never good enough, and then you never end up showing anyone what you made because it wasn't good enough. So I think it's really important when you start a project to have like a realistic goal. So this little map, this is not the map. This is a map I was making just to collect elements that I'll need to use in the map. Of course, that voice line won't be in our map because we're not Bad Cop anymore. We're Scar Zero. Yeah, so I might need to change the way that works a little bit. But yeah, so we've got a button. The button is... These elements are surprisingly complicated. There's a few different entities involved, but we have this panel thing. This is going to be the final puzzle element of our map. And then this button is going to be used a bunch. One thing I'm going to have to do before I can use these is turn them into instances so I can easily use them multiple times in the map. You know, like as a programmer, I always say don't repeat yourself. I think it's important to make things into composable units, so I'm not just like repeating work or renaming things. I don't like prefabs as much because then if I go and edit them later, then the instances in the map don't update. But yeah, this is what we're working with. So going back to my diagram, the lift is going to be at the end. After you see the cutscene on the security camera, there's going to be a lift that you can lower with the button. And the puzzle that I want to do is basically I want to have a timing puzzle where you have to lower the lift by standing on the button, but in order to get it to basically the button has to go up while you're on the platform. I want to use an explosive barrel and light it on fire or something. So you light the barrel on fire, put it on the button, and then when it explodes, the platform will lift. And that'll be important because that's basically getting you ready for later on in the add-on when you get the displacer pistol and you can move things around like that. But that's the high-level idea anyways. So two things I need to do is I want to block out the geometry, and I also want to make instances out of the button and the lift. But I'm going to start with the geometry because I've been talking a lot and we haven't been doing a lot of actual level design yet. Let me check chat. 3D is the most important. Yeah, I agree. I mean, that's what we're mostly looking at. Will Scar Zero talk with the Combine voice? Yes. I think eventually, I mean, if this gets to the point where I want to publish this, I would like to get some custom voice acting, I think. But one thing I can do is just give him the Combine voice for now. So I think I'm going to start at the area where the player is, this area, because it's a pretty simple shape. It's just a rectangle. And the rest of the map can kind of come around that on the grid. This is going to be really easy to make on the grid with the textures from Portal. So I think this will be pretty simple to start out with. What am I thinking in terms of dimensions here? This is not to scale because this is just me coming up with ideas. So I think maybe like I want it to be reasonably big, but not too much. Thinking either 1024 by 512 or 256 by 512. Let's start with 256 by 512. And I'm not going to do a gray box for this because a lot of times what I might do is I might use developer textures like this just to measure things out. But I want to actually use the Portal textures in this case. Will you have moments where the Gnome hears 3650 messing around and leaves you? Yes. So I have an idea, and I'm not going to do this in the first map because I want the first map to be kind of self-contained. But if I open... this is Chapter 3, Map 1 from Entropy 02. There's a lot of inaccessible areas in Chapter 3, Map 1. I want to have a map where you play as Scar Zero and you go through all the inaccessible areas and you can watch Bad Cop and Wilson, because I just think that would be a lot of fun. Like the main one, this is where you find Wilson, right? There's one that I thought would work great, which would be, probably up here. Yeah, up here, you could walk through here and stand here, and Bad Cop would walk down here carrying Wilson, and maybe Scar Zero's like radio thing is broken, so he can't contact Bad Cop over the radio, but he also will say he can't like project his voice because it's all with the modulator combine thing. So it'll say like voice amplifier inactive or something, and he's like trying to shout at him, but Bad Cop can't hear him. And then you'll go in here and you'll see like the Gnome come out. I think that would be cool, but I wanted to start with something more original than that. So that's why I'm not doing that yet. This map. Which tiles are the right ones? I think it might be these. I'm going to cheat again. I'm going to end up doing this a lot. I'm going to look at the Chapter 3 maps and look at what textures they use. This is Modular Floor 001A. This is Concrete BTS Wall 001B Dark. I'm going to take note of those textures. This one is the right one. So there's our starting area. Sounds fun seeing different areas from different perspectives, or previous areas from different perspectives. That's something I really enjoyed about like Raising the Bar Salvation when I played that, was going back through the same areas that you saw as Gordon, just as Grigori. So I like to go away from the origin point just because I think the origin always gets cut into leaves. So for optimization, I tend to move it away from the origin. I don't know if I'm making any sense when I say that, but I'm going to start like right here-ish. Go. Where'd I go? Oh, there I am. If one was to animate Bad Cop carrying Wilson all silly and sprinting past the area, it would be hilarious. Well, there's a scene that Blix made in Chapter 1 where a Combine soldier is carrying a turret. I think that's an animation from Nova Prospect in Half-Life 2, but there is an animation of a Combine soldier carrying a turret kind of awkwardly. So I just cannot wait to use that animation with Bad Cop carrying Wilson. I think it's going to be awesome. I'll move this down here. How deep should the water be? I'm going to say it is... it doesn't have to be that deep because it's toxic, but I'll make it... well, maybe it should be pretty shallow, actually. Make it about that, and then I'm gonna cheat again and look at what textures are used around the edges. I think this texture gets used a lot, but I think there might be a better one that has like some blue goo attached to it. Look over here. Congrats on 400 subs. Thank you so much. Yeah, it was pretty awesome. One of my friends was the 400th sub. So it's really nice to see people are interested in seeing more stuff like this. Yeah, this texture is the one that I want. It is... Uh-oh. Hammer is about to crash. I can feel it. Sometimes when you use hammer, it just... Okay, there we go. It didn't crash. This is called Concrete BTS Modular Wall 001D Entropy 0. So, coming over here. Modular. Cheating for consistency is not cheating. I don't know if I read that one yet, but yeah, that's a really good point. You know, it's like use your resources. All this stuff is available, so like why not refer to it and learn from it. I do want this to feel original. Like I don't want it to feel like I'm just like kind of copying what we already made, but it's not a good use of time to reinvent the wheel. I'm actually going to make this 128 units because the texture lines up really well. Maybe I'll make like another thing here that is, yeah. I'll make that the metal texture. I don't remember which one of these is the one that Chapter 3 uses, but I'm just going to wing it and say it is this one. It's actually that one. I say it's... Nope, not that one. These textures look so similar. Is there any particular reason you're not using Hammer++? No. There's a few reasons. In Entropy 02, we use manifests, and they don't work in Hammer++. I just never really made the switch. I'm pretty happy with this version of Hammer. I've been curious about Hammer++, so I might try it out. Lovely scum texture. Oh, thank you. It's a very lovely scum texture. I think... Where do I want to go next? I think I want to put in this glass wall here. Yeah, so this is actually going to be connected here. Is the player going to be able to jump that? Maybe I should make this whole area bigger just so you can't like cheese it as easily. Welcome, Agent Golem. Welcome, Danskart. Yeah, I want to make sure that this gap can't be easily jumped over. So I might actually scale up this entire thing just for that reason. make it comically oversized just for this. Maybe I need a little info player start for scale. Yeah, info player start for scale. I think that's actually decent. And that looks like that. Yeah, that's good. This doesn't need to be quite so wide across. I could do like 320. Could probably even do 256. Yeah, there we go. I like powers of 2. I don't know, they look nice on the grid. So we've got this platform. There's going to be another platform across here. How big should that gap be? I want it to be not easily jumpable. So maybe I should make it wider than it appears on the diagram, actually. So it'll be, yeah, you can't jump that. Green pixel guy. I thought you meant info player start at first, but you're talking about Lucia. Your first experience with mapping was with H++. Yeah, a lot of people use it. I've heard really good things about it lately. So it sounds like it's a really good tool. What's the jump distance in Source? I should know it by heart, but I actually don't. This is probably wide enough. Don't want to make it too much. And then we'll do like that. Probably like that. And be a detail, and then oh, oops. Forgot to turn texture scaling lock on. Whoop, there we go. Okay. So this needs to extend upwards about that length, and then there'll be a little outcropping there. I've never mapped like this on stream before, and I feel like I'm going really slow. This is about as slow as I normally go. I don't know. I'm not very quick at doing this. Let's see, wait a minute. For scale, should be, wait, that should be for scale. There we go. Seems like a normal pace. It takes forever. Like I hope this isn't like watching paint dry. I just realized, guys, I'm so sorry. There's no music. What am I doing? Just been talking. I'm gonna turn on the Entropy 02 soundtrack because I know that won't get copyright struck. So let me know if that is too loud or too quiet. It seems pretty quiet right now. If it gets too loud, just let me know in the chat. Will there be a second Easy 2 workshop stream? Yeah, I think so eventually. No, I might not do that format very soon because I think I'm going to want to keep doing mapping streams like this one, but I might do another workshop stream eventually. No music, jail. Is it too loud now? So I want maybe that could line up actually. How big are the aperture doors again? I haven't done a whole lot of like portal mapping, so I'm not super familiar with like all the dimensions for aperture stuff. Oops. Watching this makes me miss mapping. You know, there's no time like the present. I know it's a huge time investment, but you can always pick it up again. Oh, I haven't even saved this map yet. Wow. So this is called SZ Nest 01. That's going to be the first map of the Scar Zero expansion. So I think I want for scale, I want to see how big the portal doors are. Door. I think this is the right thing. Actually, door frame reference. Turn the soundtrack down just a little bit. It's a lot smaller than I thought it would be. Hammer has a steep learning curve. Yeah. I don't know. I do find it, like, it's hard for me to describe it, but there's something about the workflow in Hammer that I find a lot easier than working in Unity, or Unreal. And I don't know if I'm just wrong. Like, am I just crazy? Because those tools are, that's kind of the way that level design has gone, or game design in general has gone, and they have a lot more features. You know, it's the newest, the most up to date, but sometimes I just find it difficult the way Unity projects or Unreal projects are laid out. I like this a lot better, like older games. Maybe I should make the wall right here. That way it'll line up. Is that right? So this way, you'll see your objective in here once I add the door there, and then you'll also be able to see that there's a door that way. I want to get a lot out of this starting area, so you'll probably start like right about here. I'm gonna put that big sus vent right above where you are, so you can see like you fell down the vent basically. Maybe I'll hold off on mapping this room for now, and I'll just keep going with the main room. That makes sense to me, because I still need to do the walls and stuff. So there needs to be an unjumpable gap between this and the next platform. I think actually I should probably pull this in a little bit. Maybe there. And then we'll put this guy like, I don't know, here? Maybe even more. Yeah, I think putting him there would be good. And then, because there needs to be room for a vent right here, which is how you're going to get through while this door is closed. Because you need a button to open the door. Sometimes complex tools are easier at making hard stuff rather than simple tools. Yeah. Yeah, that sounds like Blender. I'm not very good at Blender. I need to learn. There are general level design guides which recommend starting with Half-Life 2 or source engine mapping. Really? Is that for real? I get it. Like, I relate to that, but I'm surprised that anybody else would have that take. It seems like that's just not really how things are done now. Like, so you're not gonna ship a game, a commercial game on Source. Well, I shouldn't say that. I mean, unless you're the Crowbar Collective. But for most people, like, it's a much better bet to go with an engine that has like tools that'll let you release on multiple platforms, modern platforms, and you know, the license where you can just publish it. Can you be able to fit husks somewhere here? That's something I thought about a lot. Because it would be really interesting if Scar Zero found his former squad mates as husks. That's something that I think would be just an interesting scenario. I don't know if it'll fit with the aperture theme that I'm going for here, though. That's the only problem. Like, I think it might be too much to try to give an introduction to husks, but also do an aperture style map at the same time. But I'm interested. I might still manage to work that in somehow. Here we go. So this is like the main flow, and then there's going to be that glass window that you can see through. Wondering if you want places the player can't yet reach, depending on when you're given the displacer pistol. I don't think this area is going to be for the displacer, but I do think that will come into play later. I was thinking about having some inaccessible doors that you need basically Wilson scanners to get through, just to make it feel like you're locked in, and then maybe I could even have you loop back here later on in the game and open those doors. Not with Wilson, obviously, because Wilson is with Bad Cop at this point in the story, but with your very own version of Wilson. Here we go. Wow, how did that fit so perfectly? I didn't measure that. Wow. I did not measure that. That actually is kind of a problem, though, because I'm going to have to duplicate it, I think. I want to make sure you can't jump that gap. I feel like Hammer is a great way to start as well. It's easy yet complex if you care enough about it, but I always wondered myself if that may be just me because I know my way around it. That's exactly how I feel. No, I relate to that completely. It's like, is that true, or is that just how I feel because I've been using it for so long? It's hard to tell. Former squadmate husks, that sounds intriguing. The thing is, the way I was thinking about it, all of Scar Zero's squad mates were already killed. You can find one of their bodies in the vents in the warehouse area. So this would be kind of a retcon to that, where some of them would still be around, which I think is fine, but it's not really how I was thinking about the story before. So I know I'm gonna need a door here. How do I want to do this? There's gonna need to be aperture doors here, and that glass door here. And why don't I go ahead and put the cube in? Might as well. To show where it's going to be. I think I made this way too big, to be honest. I don't know why, like, it didn't need to be that big. But yeah, there's gonna be a cube that's like, I don't know, in sight. Two Guys says, is he creating Entropy 02 or making another map for the game or other things? This is going to be a workshop map, so it's just sort of a personal little extra map where it's going to be a side story. Personality core? Yeah, I think Scar Zero is going to find a personality core in this story. That's where I'm thinking I'm going to go with it. Isn't there an unused... Oh, hello, Squirrel E. Nice name. Isn't there an unused Voltigore NPC in the EZ2 files? Maybe you could add it as a boss fight. I don't think that will fit for what this map is going to be about, but there is a Voltigore NPC. It was one of the aliens that I was working on that we never finished, never implemented. You like the EZ2 poster in the back? Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I got that after the game came out. It's just kind of fun. It's nice to have like a physical reminder, you know. I remember hearing that Hammer and Half-Life 2 are easier and more accessible for creating simple, artistically consistent levels. No, I think that absolutely holds up, in my opinion. Like, a lot of times with a newer game engine, you won't have like a level geometry builder like this. Like, this is a very old school thing. Nowadays, everything is going to be like assets that are made in a 3D modeling tool and then imported. You won't have like, you just make a brush, make a wall, make a ceiling. It doesn't work like that. So I can't really do without. I mean, if all the assets were already made for me and I was just using prefabs, that does sound like it'd be better for me, actually. But I like how Hammer lets you make your own geometry out of just textures, you know, with primitive shapes. Something we've kind of lost. Did I ever play SMod Tactical? I have not played SMod Tactical. You say that EZ2 music is closer to Black Mesa style or Half-Life 2 style. I think it is Spencer's own style. I don't know. I don't know how to answer that, because I don't think in terms of like styles, like it's not, there's no binary between Black Mesa and Half-Life 2. They're like different things. Thinking about when I want to put in those walls and what I want them to look like. Probably we can... This one is going to be easy. It's just going to be the floor of the next room over. Right? Actually, I'm changing my mind. There's gonna need to be a wall that is like here. So, well, that can stay. I'll have texture scaling lock on. Never mind, that can't stay. So I'm gonna put that here. Messed around a bit with the Halo 1, 2, and 3 mod tools. Sapien has something that seems mildly similar to this, might not be as flexible, but it has in-game rendering where you just put stuff down. Yeah, I'm interested in the Halo mod tools because I never really used like the Halo level editor back in the day with Halo Custom Edition, and now I know there's a whole new set of mod tools that came with the Master Chief Collection. That texture doesn't line up. I might need to do something about that. Okay, let me see. I think I'm actually going to... I know this seems crazy. Seems like a hot take here, but I'm gonna move all of these things forwards a little bit just so that the texture lines up. Does that line up yet? I can't tell. I think it does. Yeah, that looks better. There we go. So now I'm going to add another wall. And I think it will be easy to just continue that texture, but remove the scum from the texture. So okay, look at modular. Doom 3 also has a mapping and modding tool built into the game. Yeah, that's from the same kind of era as Half-Life 2, where they used to have tools that were more like that. I just realized that Scar Zero is that one Combine soldier from the warehouse. Yeah, that's who we're making the expansion about. It's going to be the soldier that you find in the warehouse. So this is going to be all from his perspective after he gets taken by the Gnome. What is this thing that's just sticking out? Okay. So that gives me a good idea of what the rest of the room is. Well, let's actually make this, let's see. I probably want this to be the dark texture, but that won't line up with this one. That's no good. We'll roll with this texture for now, and then I'll figure out later if I want to replace it. What is your favorite most used hammer tool? Like within hammer? Oops. Forgot to hold down shift. I feel like there's a really good answer to that, and it's just not coming to me. I mean, vertex tool is amazing. That's how you can do things like, you know, you can just grab a vertex and whoop, do that. So vertex tool is really cool. The displacement tools are also really useful. Carve. No, not carve. Never carve. Don't do it. Don't use the carve tool. Why do I keep... Okay. I keep forgetting to hold down shift when I drag this around. So, I think I want there to be a space where the goo just kind of continues, like it will flow out through here. I'm not sure how to make that. Yeah, I might just wall it off for now, because that'll be easier. Rather than having it do like this, where it opens up into a wider area. I'm at that point where I'm like having that decision anxiety. I don't know what to do next exactly. How tall should the walls be? I feel like this should be a pretty cavernous chamber. I'm doing it in layers because each of these textures is that height, so I can, that way I can make them look less tessellated. Probably like that one. No. Be like this one. No, that's not right. This one. Oh, that contrasts too much. Oh, that's fine. Yeah, that looks fine. Could the ceiling be relatively high? Yeah, ooh, a waterfall. I really like that idea. No, don't use carve. Don't use the carve tool. Don't do it. You have so much to live for. That looks terrible. That looks awful. Graphic design is my passion. I think I want to have like a different wall texture going above that. So like, maybe it'll be, there's no portal gun here obviously, but maybe it'll be like the non-portal surface. Like if I do... Just make redacted in source 2. There's no source 2 SDK. So, I mean, we're not going to make the whole game as a workshop map for Half-Life Alyx. That'd be kind of silly. I mean, don't get me wrong, like the Half-Life Alyx tools are amazing, and I love what people are doing in Half-Life Alyx maps, but that's not really like what redacted is. That wouldn't make any sense. That's too big. Okay. Maybe here? Yeah, I mean, I think I can make this work by having some of these panels, like, come out of the wall, and that could kind of save it. This is very ugly. But, oh, that texture, like, cuts off in a really unsatisfying way here. It's fine. Like, it's, at least it cuts off in the middle, but... That's fine. Still doesn't feel right. I don't know. I'm not really... Okay, Okay, I'm gonna cheat again. I'm gonna look at... How does Breadman do this so well? I think part of it is... Well, he does a really good job detailing these ceilings, like with the metal strut things here. But he also, like, the ceilings are very dark, which is really a good way to make the ceilings seem, like, less bad looking, if you just don't light it up so you can't really see the fine details. But yeah, I think I need some like cross beams and stuff to give it a little bit more detail. Oh yeah, there's going to be more than just Combine ragdolls. Eventually, I want to have basically a Gonome nest here. So there's going to be like piles of like viscera and you know, the bodies that the Gonome dropped down this vent thing. Speaking of the vent, why don't I add the vent while I'm at it? Just going to throw that in there. Oops. Wrong axis. Just gonna rotate this. Yeah, here we go. That's the wrong way. Rotate this some more. There we go. So the idea is that you got dropped right here. So the vent is going to be pretty much right above where you start. Be right there. And should go... I mean... Can he survive a fall like that? That doesn't look survivable. I shouldn't make it too high up, because then it won't be believable that you survived the fall. I also think that I need to, probably... I need to make these textured so that you can see the sides of the vent. The big sus vent, yeah. I might have some other vents going laterally that the Gonome can come from. I think that would be cool. You always put something below. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I might do that next, or I might save that. I'm not sure. Just... see... Would be a good metal texture here. Yeah, that's good. That works. Okay, so that's the vent. So... I think... Let's see here. We're gonna do some displacements. I should probably seal the map and compile it first before we start going into detailing, but I kind of want to do this now because we're thinking about it. Let me try this. Let's look at some Zen textures. So what would be a good Zen texture for this? Maybe this one. Probably not this one. Let's go with... Well, is there a good... If I look up goo... no, not goo. Is there like a... What do we call it? Like, blue or... I don't know quite what we would call that, but I want some, blue goo. I'm gonna just stick with Zen for now. We're gonna put in some Zen stuff here. Bacon Zen, yeah. Going to make it like a ramp here. And then I want to make a displacement. Is this gonna work? I don't know if that's gonna work actually. Let me change my mind. So I think I am gonna cut it to a ramp. I'm not super great with displacement work. What I'm thinking here is I want it to basically displace from this kind of surface. This should be a little bit lower. Like maybe like here? Yeah, there. And then I'm going to do this. Probably not on that. Well, yeah, on that side too. Like that. Is this gonna work, or is that an invalid displacement? It might be invalid because this is a triangle surface. I don't think it'll let me do that. No, it won't. Yeah, no, that was a bad idea. I'm gonna make it more like a trapezoid. So just gonna maybe bring it down to here and then bring it in a little bit. And like that. Oh, that's not gonna, yeah, that's not gonna subdivide there. What am I thinking here? We'll stick with the cube. I'm so overthinking this because I could just... Okay, so let me explain why I'm doing this stuff. So naturally you'd think make it a plane and then make a subdivision and then increase the geometry. The reason I'm thinking about those shapes is because if I increase the geometry here, it's going to have a hole in it. And I also want it to kind of like have a natural slope to it. Yeah, I want it to be up against the glass, so it has to be on the other side too. Let me just destroy. Can those sides be unnecessary if it's a displacement? No, because of what I just mentioned. I think I'm behind on chat. Yeah, so I want it to show up through the glass. That's the problem. What would you choose? Use the carve tool or not make a map forever? You can't make a map if you use the carve tool, so it's the same thing. It doesn't work. Should be removed from the editor. Breadman is really good at displacements. Because I know a lot of times if you're making a tunnel, what you should do is you should make the geometry sort of at an angle. Have a wedge like before, but only have the diagonal side and the side facing the glass be displacements. Only have the diagonal side and the side. But then wouldn't there be like a weird edge? I don't quite get that. Because, wait, so I think think I have an idea. Guys, I forgot how to use Hammer Editor. This is so sad. That's not gonna work. No, no, no. It'd be, okay, here, I have an idea. Okay. Yeah, I don't need these faces. No, I don't. Yeah, wait, no. Yeah, I do. Okay. I think I get it now. So if we say like, I'm just gonna paint some geometry here. Probably gonna add more noise later. Okay. Yeah, that could work. Wait. Okay. So I see what we're getting at here. This face would need to be flush with the plane here. Then it does that. So maybe one unit up, but then these would have to be down on the floor. Yeah, that works. That works. Okay. Let's see what we're doing here. And then what I can do also is I can take this vertex and move it down. Perfect. Yeah, that's what we're looking for. So, raise to 0. No, we want negative, actually. Probably negative 16. And that way I can move this down. There we go. There we go. We do like -4, and then I can kind of spot check it. I want it to look like it's just kind of goop. Oh, this vertex looks terrible. Let's just kind of. Oh, that's too much. There we go. Perfect. Maybe I will add some random noise. Add like I like a lot of noise. Yeah, that looks good. That looks good. Oh, that vertex is sticking out there because I added noise on it. I shouldn't have done that. Wait. Undo noise. I only want noise on the top face, not on the side face, because that face has to match. Noise. Let's do 16. Let's do even more noise. And then just grab this face and so. There we go. Oh, that's a little bit too bumpy. This gives an idea that it's actually a nest for the gnome. It's like it's starting to spread the Zen infestation around. Because there was a gnome nest in Half-Life Opposing Force where there were also like Zen plants around. So I think that's kind of the idea that we're going for here. Any real people that use Sculpt? I'm gonna be honest, I don't even know what that does. I've never used it. So we'll put some Zen lights in there. Zen light. And maybe some Zen hairs too. But we also need just a bunch of disgusting stuff. It's a Zen light. We'll make it blue. Maybe it's like starting to soak up the phytoplankton. Maybe this whole thing should be blue tinted later on. Oh, I did that thing again. Epic fail. It doesn't even land on the pile. Okay, well, maybe I'll just move the vent. There we go. So, yeah, I'm gonna need to have the player start like, I think I want to have like a wake up sequence. I'm not gonna do that today, but the player is gonna have like a lying down animation, then they wake up here. And now we throw in just a bunch of nastiness. This guy also looks like Scar Zero. I hope that's not confusing. Just gonna have a bunch of bodies. Perhaps you can make the vent at the top connect to the aperture compactors, like the trash thing. I did think about that, like for a different part of the map, but this one in particular connects to the vent that you saw the Gnome use in Chapter 2, Map 4. Throw in some rebels. Let's see, maybe this guy. There. Maybe we'll get a couple more. I think group 3. Oh, how about this guy? Yeah, that looks good. Yeah, and then a bunch of skeletons too. We need some spooky skeletons in here. A quick hazy animation of the player being dragged in the vent, and then fall, wake up, stand. Yeah. So I want to have, and again, I'm starting with like the gameplay section of the map, but I want to have an intro where you get pulled into the vents, and then you'll probably have some flashbacks, so you get to see some earlier scenes. I like that as a way of having flashbacks without interrupting the continuous like player experience. Because in Half-Life games, you know, it's always there's no interruptions. So this is a way of like not interrupting the experience, because it's a diegetic flashback. It's not like it's just like a cutscene that says, you know, X number of days earlier. It's going to be something that the character actually experiences in real time. Physics tool is going to be very useful. Yeah. Yeah, I do wish I had that physics tool. Don't forget the skeletons. Merge in the goop pile. You should add a Combine Assassin ragdoll. No, because I don't think there's a Combine Assassin there right now. At least not that we've seen. Wait, so... I forget how to... Let's see. There we go. I think having some of the blue goo mixed in with the Zen stuff would be good. Yeah, that looks good. Maybe this one. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. There we go. So this is the Gnome nest. So it's starting to give an impression. I was supposed to be blocking out the level. I'm sorry, guys. Now we have the Gnome nest. So I know I want a window here. So we can see the chamber beyond. For now, I'll probably make it a wall so we can compile sooner. I don't like leaving things in Hammer too long without trying a test compile. I'll put in a little placeholder wall here. Placeholder wall. Then there'll be another wall like this over here. If you were to use Hammer++, you could see... Yeah, I know. I'm aware. I feel like this music is a little bit high energy for the mapping that's going on right now, but that's okay. I'm gonna wall this off for now. We can add that little sort of river later on. Maybe I will add a couple more layers of this. Lucia says, I made a full map around being able to simulate physics in Hammer using Hammer++ for the iCandy 2 Map Labs competition. That sounds awesome. Actually, that's a really good idea. I don't know if I played that one. I should. I've been kind of behind on Map Labs. It'd be good for me to see how all the latest Map Labs competitions went. Intense mapping. Will map end in Easy 2's Chapter 6? Or what? I don't like it when people end sentences with or. End in Chapter 6 or what? But anyways, no, it'll probably end when Scar Zero leaves Arbite 1. I don't think it'll go up to Chapter 6 because we already saw that from Bad Cop's perspective. But maybe. I don't know. I don't know, I'm kind of breaking it up into a few different maps. Or not. Yeah, but you didn't say that. I mean, what? I didn't know what the alternative was. There we go. Okay, so this ceiling looks horrible, but I'm kind of counting on not lighting it. And then we can add some cross beams later that will add some more definition. I'm at the point where I'm very eager to try to compile, even though we're not quite done with the block out yet. Yeah, that'll be good. Scar Zero fight Plan B. Well, that doesn't really make sense because we know Bad Cop was the one who fought Plan B and killed it. You could totally jump that. Yeah, I'm gonna need to... Let me just... do that. There we go. Easy. So I know the way that Breadman set up the goo in Easy 2 was kind of different from how water usually is. If I look at like the goo pits in Chapter 3, Run, Think, Shoot, Live is back. Oh, that's a relief. I was sad when I saw that the site was down for a little bit. Here we are. So I think... Oh, there's sprites in here too. This is a trigger that respawns the cube. I think about that. Yeah, I think I'm gonna copy this entirely. I'm just gonna... What does this do? I'm gonna copy pretty much this whole thing and use that as the goo in this map. Miss Run, Think, Shoot, Live. It used to be such a hub for Half-Life modding. It seems somewhat forgotten by most now. Yeah, I agree. I mean, ever since the Hammer Cups stopped, that was kind of end of an era. Run, Think, Shoot, Live really got me into mapping, you know, doing their mapping challenges. So it was a really big deal, and I loved the community that they had. But, you know, there's still map labs and other community, you know, mapping projects like that. I think that's gonna be good for starters. What I might do is... Wait, let's see here. I think I'm gonna have to break this up into segments. The Arbite 1 testing levels was my favorite part of Easy 2. That's your main reason why you made Aperture 0. I'm so glad that you made it. You know, it's such a good set of maps. I really enjoyed your take on the Aperture style as well. I thought it was just really good. Yeah, that's probably good. Now, do I want to try to make the brushes fit in the gaps smoothly, or do I want to just try to kind of cover blanket the whole area? Let's try just fitting it in the gaps, I think. No, I'm gonna start by making it just one big thing. I'm gonna head out for now. Good luck on mapping. I'll be sure to catch the next stream. Thanks. It was really good to see you here. And like your channel. I watch all your videos, so thanks for stopping by. See you next time. What's that? No. I'll put a light there. I'll put a light there. Light there. One. I'm being somewhat haphazard about this. No, these are actually lights, so it's gonna light the level from there. I'm gonna have to tweak them a lot. This is just kind of, I'm just kind of placing them around. So I'm gonna get in game with this, I think. There's a few things I want to do. First, let me just yoink the soundscape from here. This doesn't use soundscapes, does it? Oh, man. That's unfortunate. Let me see if C3.1 uses soundscapes. It does. We're gonna grab this soundscape. Throw that in here. We're gonna ignore those positions for now. You always wanted a Half-Life 2 mod that connects Half-Life 2 and Portal 1. Easy 2 did that perfectly. Yeah, it's something that I really enjoyed as well. You know, when Portal first came out, I remember speculating a lot about how it was going to tie in with Half-Life, and I always wanted to see that connection. But I didn't get to until much, much later, unfortunately. But I'm glad that we got there now with mods. Cube map. Let's see. Where do I want these cube maps? Probably. Okay, so we want one to be about player height. Probably one there. Probably one here. Be one like here. Shell goes home to the better. What's that? I want to see that one Portal theory about dead bodies being stuffed to the cubes. Some of those theories are a little bit silly. Like, what was the point of dead bodies being stuffed to the cubes? I know I mean, Portal makes a gag about the sentience of the cubes, but I never really got the fan theory. Player might be crouched a lot. Yeah, but I mean, I think the cube map still should be at standing height. That's the convention anyways. I'm not sure how much it matters. Now I'm going to put one light here. It's not a very realistic light, but it's going to be pointing straight down. It's going to represent the illumination from the Zen lights, which they can individually go away, but the lighting won't reflect that yet. So we use projected textures. Okay, I want to see what this looks like in game, so we're gonna try it out. Chill Goes Home is a Portal 1 mod that connects Portal 1 and Half-Life 2. That sounds cool. I remember some mods like that a long time ago. I don't remember what the mods were. So we're gonna load into my map now, the first time. So there's the nest. There's the goo. The ceiling is way too bright. We can work on that. The goo is illuminated from below. This doesn't look very good, to be honest. I'm not super impressed. It's kind of basic. I think it needs a lot more detailing on the walls, maybe a different wall texture. The lighting could be improved. It needs more light sources. And I definitely need to turn down the brightness on those lights that come from below. I think these lights should, they all need, they should have a fall off, basically. So I think they're gonna fall off after maybe 512 units, and then they will go to 0 at... No, that's too much. Go to 0 at 512. Fall off 50%. There we go. So like this one, if we look at it, it's not gonna go very far. Have I been using fall off wrong? Is it just me, or did it get brighter? I feel like it got brighter. I'm very confused. That's weird. Because it's definitely not working. Father Gregory is Chell's uncle. Well, that's just ridiculous. Yeah, that's not right at all. Yeah, so the cones look large because of the, that's like the angle. So it's set to a outer angle of 70 and an inner angle of 40. What I don't understand is it has a fall off of 512 hammer units. So it should stop after 512 units. It doesn't. It definitely doesn't. That doesn't look very good. Oh, that's weird. Yeah, now you can see the fall off more clearly. I think fall off. Let's see. Maybe. Yeah, intense mapping. This should be like 8 probably. I'm gonna turn the brightness way down. It should be like maybe 400. 300. This is gonna be really dark because I haven't added any other sources of light yet, but I think this will look good. Yeah, the hard fall off is a little bit too harsh. I think this is closer to what I was thinking of. I don't want to use too many light sources, because this is already kind of a crazy amount. Lighting is not my strongest point. Do you think blob has like what's blob? I don't know. I don't know what you mean. It's an NPC. Yeah. You mean like the NPC blob that Valve was testing with? I mean, yeah, it was an interesting idea. I don't really know where like modders would use it. Here we go. I need some top-down sources of light. I think I just need to reduce the intensity of all of these. Maybe down to 200. I need some light sources around. I need to finish the block out as well. Yeah, you can't see anything here because now I got rid of all the lights. But this looks a little bit better. The hard fall off still looks pretty bad, I'm gonna be honest, because this is surprisingly difficult because the light is coming from the goo, so it should be like constant everywhere, but it's obviously it's not. I need to remove the fall off values, but it needs to get dark by the ceiling, otherwise it's gonna look terrible. Ceiling fan projected texture lights. Oh, I love those. There's one of there's one of those in Aperture Zero that looked really good. So something like that for sure. This needs to be like that looks better. I might use projected textures on these to make it light up the environment. This should be further away from the goo so it stands out more. Why do you even have hard fall off? Use high quadratic and linear values. What does setting a high quadratic actually do? Because from what I understand, it's supposed to be whether or not you use linear or quadratic. Try that. So if I did like a high quadratic value, is that all of them? That's not all of them. What does that do? It worked. Yeah, that was a good idea. So one thing I'm noticing though that's kind of problematic is that like these edges cast shadows because of course they do. If the light is coming from below the goo, there's going to be a shadow where that edge is. But that's not very realistic because if the light is actually coming from the surface of the goo, it's like it's not coming from one point below the surface. It's coming from the surface going in all directions. So I think, honestly, I think this whole idea has been kind of silly. I think what I should do instead is just have a point light like above the surface that that lights up the whole thing. Let me try that. Let me just quick do light spot, except for that one. Why are these different? They should all be the same. But anyways, we're going to do that, and we're going to also get all the sprites and put them in a viz group. Oh, wait. I don't think I can multi-select with that. Let's turn those off, and then I'm going to be no matter where, because this is gonna cast shadows that are weird. What if okay, so honestly, this is gonna look the best. 1 point light in the middle. Probably in the center of this. Yeah, so light right there. A little bit above surface. It's gonna be quadratic. This color. This will actually look the most realistic, even though it's not. It's strictly not realistic. This needs to be linear though. That's the problem. It's like it has to be linear so that it lights things. Like it's not. The source isn't here. The source is all around. But if I make it linear, then it's gonna light the whole ceiling. I don't know why we got into lighting for the stream. That wasn't supposed to be the point. So I'm gonna make it maybe 100. Do like a high linear one. Yeah, so if okay, so this is gonna look like yeah, that looks terrible because it lights the whole thing, but for like this part, it looks a lot more realistic, right? Because the surface is gonna light everything equally. It's not gonna... Although now that this surface is lit by the goo, and that wouldn't make sense. Yeah, questioning this now. And that shadow is also completely wrong, of course. Yeah. This is a weird case because actually you'd probably want the light to, it's like I want it to be linear, laterally, but then like quadratic vertically? Is that a thing? I think I need Trivy's input on this. How do you light this scene? Well, that will be a later problem. That will be a later problem. Okay, we're just gonna make this very dim. And then it's going to be almost pitch black in there, but that's okay. We'll light it differently. Yeah, so I said I was going to stream for about 2 hours. Is this the struggle that every mapper... Oh, this is barely even scratching the surface. This is just one aspect, you know, this is lighting. Yeah, there's a lot of different things. I think it looks pretty good like this, to be honest. It's not realistic, but it kind of gives at least an impression that everything is lit equally. And then I could probably fake having those shadows go away by making this detail not cast shadows. And then that would do it. I think that's not a bad play, honestly, for lighting this scene. I know... Yeah, that's probably how I would do it. But then there should obviously be more lights that are, like, lighting these walkable surfaces. You know, lights that are coming out of the walls and stuff that shine down so you can see where you're going. Block light tool by the edge. That's really smart. I like that idea, actually. So, like... How would we... I need to think about that some more. But yeah, I'm getting a little bit into the weeds. That's not really important right now. You never used the spooky ENV spot. No, ENV spotlight is great. So that's basically, it like gives you like a fake volumetric light. So it like, it's good for like pointing the player in a certain direction. It's basically just a sprite. So, we're nearing the 2-hour mark, and I have to make a decision about whether to keep going because, you know, I'm on a roll and we still have a lot to go. This is barely getting started, so we have this one room, and we're supposed to have this whole thing here, right? So, this isn't very far. So I could keep streaming and keep mapping, and maybe we'd be able to get this done by the end of the stream if I went for like 4 or 5 hours, something like that. From what I learned from previous streams, I'm not going to do that. I think we should end it at about 2 hours. I think that'll be best for, you know, avoiding burnout, avoiding the stream getting too long or too boring. I think, yeah, no way this will end like this. I'm sorry. Yeah, no, we'll end it for today, but I do want to do this again. I want to do the same thing next weekend. I want to keep going with this. I really like this format. Talking with you guys has been great. And I think this is a really good way to map. It's been a good time. But this gives me a lot to work with in terms of learning, because I didn't really know what this would be like before I tried it. Yeah, I did a 5-hour stream for the workshop add-on stream, and honestly, that just completely burned me out. I'm not sure if it was any fun at all to watch me by the end. I wouldn't think it would be, because I was just not having a very good time. I had a headache, I was playing for too long, I was missing things. I think it's good to keep the streams short, because that way it's more focused. Good stream. Oh, thank you. Means a lot. So before I go, I want to take stock of what we've made so far. So before a stream, I prepared this diagram. This is supposed to be the first map of a map pack about Scar Zero. Today, we basically just blocked out just the central area with the goo pit. And we also... well, before stream, basically, I had made this zoo map that has all the gameplay elements that we need. So that has this cube, which, oh, you can't even pick it up because I didn't set the mass override. Oops. but it has a cube that you can put on a button. The button lowers the platform, and you can also stand on it. So these are the elements that are going to be in the test chamber. So we have the big vent. And then, let's see, Nest 01. This is what we built so far. So we have the basic block out of this room. We have the goo pit, the little nest area with the bodies, and that's about it. It takes a long time to make these things. I'd like to go a little bit faster next time. I mean, that's always a struggle with mapping. There's just like so much to do. But I do think that this is a good start. And I will probably work on this a little bit more off stream as well. Especially the parts that are less fun to watch, like making instances and making view models and stuff like that. For some reason, the last 2 hour stream seemed longer. Didn't it? Like, I can't believe that was 2 hours, honestly. That went so fast. That was like just a flash. But, yeah, it's 2 hours already. Fade that out. Well, so that was my first mapping stream. Thank you to everyone who joined. It means a lot. It's been a lot of fun, and I want to keep doing this. So I'm going to plan for my next mapping stream to be next week Saturday, and I will see you there. Same place, same time, and hopefully we can keep going with this story. But good core foundation. Excited for next weekend. Oh, thank you. But thanks again for watching. I know I've probably said that about 100 times now. I'm sorry. I repeat myself too much. But hope you all have a really good rest of your weekend, and I will see you soon.